I'm Bill Heran, the author of The Missing Piece, a book about restless mind, our restless minds, and the pursuit of inner peace. Today is January 30th. The attitude change is the topic of the entry, attitude change. And there are two quotes for today. The first quote is from Jimmy Carter and President Jimmy Carter, and it says, "I didn't ask God to let me live, but I asked God to give me a proper attitude toward death. And I found that I was absolutely and completely at ease with death." And then Joshua Johnson, his quote is, "The thing that is better than making dollars is making change." An attitude is described as a disposition, either physical or mental, that communicates a posture or position. Often we hear about a person, in quotes, having an attitude, which usually means something annoying and negative. For example, "Stop giving me attitude" is often said. The restless mind, with all of its attempts to promote reactivity and problem orientation, will adhere to an attitude of self centeredness and judgment. This disposition keeps you in dis ease and sustains the attitude of repelling others from you. If you have a negative attitude towards others, it's the result of two things typically. One is the perception or the impression and judgment you may have of the individual or group. And two, it reflects the reactivity of your own negative narrative or story. Our perceptions are not necessarily reality. You've heard, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Well, that's what we all do, especially when we're illiterate and when we come to reading others. One of the ways to change a toxic attitude is to cut yourself and others some slack. While practicing mindfulness, we begin each meditation session with a statement, "I am okay in this moment." This temperament, when practiced daily, begins to disconfirm the polluted thoughts that we are the culmination of our perceived problems, including the negative perception of others. We are more likely to have an attitude of negativity when we subscribe to the problem centered perceptions of ourselves and others. Settling in with the reality that we are going to have, or excuse me, that reality that we are okay in the moment makes it less likely you will stick to the negative excreted thoughts about problems and judgments. An attitude in need of change. When you walk around believing you are okay in the moment, not without problems, of course, but without a need to identify and project an attitude of negativity, you begin to sense inner peace and see that potential is also in others. So today, let's take time to focus on whether we are caught up in an attitude of toxicity. It's quite common, but we can change our attitudes through stripping ourselves of this problematic focus, believing in ourselves that we are okay, and so is everybody else. Thank you for joining me today with the reading, and I look forward to you joining me with future readings of The Missing Piece. Thank you and have a great day.